His collar is in my fist before I realize I've moved. Say that again. I snap, dragging him closer. The fabric bunches under my knuckles, warm from his skin. He smells like soap and something sharper. Annoyingly clean for someone this insufferable. His back hits the locker with a dull clang. He doesn't push me away. That's the first problem. The second, his ears. Pink. Again. You fight like this with everyone? He asks, voice low, steady. Like he's not pinned. Like he's the one in control. I fight with idiots. I shoot back. You just qualify. A breath of space between us. Too little. I can feel it, his pulse or mine, I don't know anymore. He tilts his head, watching me like he's figured something out I haven't. Funny, he murmurs, eyes flicking to my mouth. Because I heard you only do this to get my attention. My grip tightens. Heat crawls up my neck. You didn't hear the full thing. I heard enough. Silence snaps tight between us. My fingers don't let go. Neither does his gaze. Then, softer, almost curious. So why me? Welcome to BL Without Labels, where the story isn't defined by words. Stay with the story. Support us. Chapter 1. Chaos, fights, and the worst timing in human history. I had him by the collar before the bell even finished ringing. Say that again. I snapped, shoving him back into the lockers hard enough to rattle 3 innocent backpacks and someone's emotional stability. Rowan Vale didn't flinch. Of course he didn't. He just looked down at me, because apparently the universe thought giving him height was necessary, like I was mildly inconvenient whether. I said, he repeated calmly, brushing imaginary dust off his sleeve, that your argument lacks structure, and logic, and basic intelligence. Oh, I'm so sorry, I said sweetly, tightening my grip. Next time I'll bring a PowerPoint. His lips twitched, like he was enjoying this. I hated him. Correction, I thrived on hating him. Rowan Vale. Top student, walking superiority complex, and professional eye roller. If arrogance were an Olympic sport, he'd have gold, silver, and a sponsorship deal. And me? I was apparently the idiot who kept signing up to compete. Let go, he said, voice low, not even struggling. No, people are staring. Good. Let them learn what happens when you talk too much. You mean like you're doing right now? I paused. He had a point. I hated that too. Okay, spill it. I froze mid-step. My sister, Lila, had appeared out of nowhere like a poorly timed jump scare, blocking my escape route home. I don't have anything to spill. She folded her arms, smiling like she'd already won. You pick fights with one person. One. And it's always him. So either you secretly enjoy getting humiliated. I don't. Or, she continued smoothly, you want his attention. I stared at her. Then I laughed. Not a normal laugh. No, this was the kind of laugh you give when your sibling says something so ridiculous it deserves public humiliation. Oh my God, I said, wiping imaginary tears. That's what you think? That I like Rowan? She leaned closer. Don't avoid it. I'm not avoiding it, I said, grinning. I'm just impressed. Truly. The mental gymnastics? Olympic level. Then explain it. Easy. Too easy. I don't like him, I said, shrugging. He's just there. Then why him? I rolled my eyes dramatically. Please. As if I'd fall for someone like him. She raised an eyebrow. I smirked. And then, because apparently my brain takes lunch breaks at the worst possible moments, I added, okay, fine. Maybe I love him. Maybe I need his attention. Maybe that's why I start fights. Wow. A voice cut in. Everything stopped. My soul left my body. Slowly, very slowly, I turned around. Rowan Vale stood a few steps behind me. Of course he did. Of course he did. Because timing, like him, clearly had a personal vendetta against me. What? I said faintly. He looked at me. Not annoyed. Not smug. Worse. Interested. I didn't realize, he said, tilting his head slightly, that I meant that much to you. I know, wait. My brain scrambled, tripped, and fell down a flight of metaphorical stairs. That's not. You didn't hear that was. I love him, he repeated far too calmly. I need his attention. I was joking. Sounded convincing. I was mocking her. Impressive commitment to the bit. Lila, traitor that she was, took a step back. I'm just going to. Don't you dare leave. She left. Of course she left. I was alone. With him. And my accidental confession. Perfect. Forget what you heard, I said quickly. No, that wasn't. You seemed very certain. I wasn't. You sounded like you were. I wasn't talking about you. Silence. He blinked. I blinked. We both knew that was a lie. Right? He said dryly. Okay. Fine, I was talking about you. I snapped. But not like that. I don't like you. I fight you because you're annoying. And arrogant. And insufferable. And yet, he said softly, you need my attention. I don't. You said. I said a lot of things. Clearly. I groaned, dragging a hand down my face. Can you just forget it? No, he repeated. Why not? A pause. Then, almost casually, because now I'm curious. That was worse. So much worse. The next day, I did what any reasonable person would do. Picked a fight. Move, I said, blocking his path. He stopped, looked at me, and then, his ears turned pink. I froze. Oh no, not this, not this. What? I demanded, suddenly defensive. Nothing, he said, but his voice wasn't as steady as usual. You're doing that thing. What thing? That? I gestured vaguely at his face. That weird color situation. I'm not. You are. I'm not. You are. A pause. Then he leaned in slightly, close enough that my brain forgot how oxygen worked. You started this, he murmured. My heart did something stupid. I start a lot of things. I shot back. I've noticed. Silence stretched. Tight. Strange. Different. And then he stepped past me, brushing my shoulder like it meant nothing. Try harder next time, he said. And just like that, the fight was over. Except it wasn't. Because now every fight felt like something else. And I had a very bad feeling. This was only getting worse. Chapter 2, Damage Control, failed spectacularly. By lunch, I had a plan. A solid plan. A genius, reputation-saving, rumor-killing, dignity-restoring plan. Step 1, find Rowan. Step 2, clarify everything. Step 3, end this before it turns into campus headline of the year. Simple, clean, foolproof. Hey! Someone whispered as I walked past. I ignored it. Is that him? I kept walking. That's the guy. Nope, not listening. Absolutely not. I turned the corner faster and walked straight into him, of course, because clearly the universe and Rowan Vale were working together now. He didn't even step back. I did. Bad start. Looking for me? He asked. No hello. No surprise. Just that same calm, irritating tone like he'd been expecting this. I know. Yes. I exhaled sharply. We need to talk. His eyebrow lifted slightly. Serious tone, he noted. Should I be worried? You should be concerned. I snapped. Very concerned. Deeply concerned. Life-altering levels of concerned. Dramatic. Focused. Debatable. I clenched my jaw. Can you not do this for 5 seconds? He considered me. Actually considered me. Then finally, fine, he said. Talk. This was it. My moment. My carefully prepared speech. I straightened. Took a breath. Opened my mouth. People think I like you. Silence. Great. Fantastic. Not how I practiced it in my head. Rowan didn't react immediately. That should have been my second warning. My first was agreeing to talk to him in the middle of a hallway where at least 12 people were pretending not to listen. And? He asked. And? I repeated. And? That's your response. What would you prefer? He said mildly. Shock? Gratitude? A speech? I straightened. Took a breath. Opened my mouth. People think I like you. Silence. Great. Fantastic. Not how I practiced it in my head. Rowan didn't react immediately. That should have been my second warning. My first was agreeing to talk to him in the middle of a hallway where at least 12 people were pretending not to listen. And? He asked. And? I repeated. And? That's your response. What would you prefer? He said mildly. Shock? Gratitude? A speech? I would prefer you deny it. Why would I do that? I stared at him. I just said it's not true. And yet, he said, taking a step closer, lowering his voice just enough to make it worse. You said it. I explained that already. Poorly. I didn't explain it poorly. You panicked. I did not panic. You said, and I quote, forget what you heard. That's because you didn't hear the full thing. I heard enough to understand the sentiment. There was no sentiment. Convincing. Oh my. I dragged a hand through my hair. This was going exactly as expected, which is to say horribly. Listen carefully, I said, pointing at him like this was a courtroom and I was about to win the case of the century. I don't like you. I don't need your attention. I fight you because you're annoying. A pause. Then, his ears turned pink. Again, I faltered. Why are you doing that? Doing what? That. What? That thing with your ears. They're not doing anything. They are. They're, I gestured aggressively. Changing color. They're not. They are. They're not. They. Leo. I stopped. He rarely said my name, which was unfair, because now my brain had decided to focus on that instead of my very important speech. What? I said, suddenly less confident. He leaned in slightly. Too close. Way too close. You're the one making this a problem, he said quietly. I'm trying to fix the problem. You're making it worse. How? A beat. Then, almost lazily, by caring this much. I froze. I don't. You tracked me down, he continued, cornered me in a hallway, gave a speech about how you don't like me. That's because I don't. And yet, he said, eyes steady on mine, you seem very invested in making sure I believe that. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing came out. Because, annoyingly, that sounded bad. This isn't about you, I said finally. It sounds like it is. It's about my reputation. Ah, he nodded slightly. So I'm the problem. You're part of the problem. I'm honored. You shouldn't be. Too late. A few people nearby coughed. Loudly. Very fake. I turned slightly. Yeah. They were definitely listening. Perfect. Just perfect. Okay, I said quickly. New plan. We just act normal. We've never acted normal. You know what I mean, do I? Yes. We just go back to fighting like usual. No weird comments. No this. I gestured between us. He followed the movement. Slowly, thoughtfully, then looked back at me. And that will fix it? Yes. A pause. Then, no. What do you mean no? I mean, he said, stepping past me slightly, close enough that his shoulder brushed mine again. People already think something. That's why we fix it. You're not fixing it. I am fixing it. You're panicking. I am not. You are. I am being strategic. You're being obvious. I stopped, because he was smiling. Not a big smile. Not obvious. Just there. And somehow that was worse. You're enjoying this, I accused. Maybe. Why? He glanced at me sideways. Calm. Composed. Infuriating. Because, he said, voice low, you finally stopped pretending I don't matter. My brain short-circuited. That's not. And now, he added, cutting me off like it was nothing. You're doing everything you can to prove the opposite. I stared at him, speechless. Again, this was becoming a problem. Just deny it, I muttered. Why? Because it's not true. Or, he said lightly, because you don't want people to think it is. That's the same thing. Is it? Yes. Not really. I took a deep breath. Then another. Then, Rowan. Yes. If this becomes a rumor, it already is. My soul left my body. What? He nodded slightly toward the hallway behind us. I turned. 3 people immediately looked away. One of them tripped. Another pretended to check their phone upside down. I turned back slowly. I hate everything. I've noticed. This is your fault, I said. You started it. I did not. You grabbed my collar yesterday. That's unrelated. You confessed. I did not confess. You said. I was joking. Convincingly. Stop saying that. Silence. Then, quietly, almost thoughtful. You're really that bothered? I paused. Yes. He watched me for a second longer than necessary. And for the first time, he didn't look amused. He looked considering. Fine, he said. I blinked. Fine. I'll help you. I blinked again. You'll what? I'll help you fix it. Suspicion hit immediately. Hard. And what do you get out of it? A small pause. Then, that almost smile again. I get to see how far you're willing to go to prove you don't like me. I narrowed my eyes. This feels like a trap. It probably is. At least you're honest. I try. I should have said no. I should have walked away. I should have ignored him and let the rumor die on its own. Instead, fine. He nodded once, like he'd expected that. Of course he had. Good, he said. Then let's start simple. I crossed my arms. Simple how? He leaned in slightly again, close enough to make my heartbeat annoyingly noticeable. Convince me, he murmured, that you don't like me. I stared at him. That's easy. Is it? Yes. Then do it. I opened my mouth. Ready. Prepared. Absolutely certain. And then, nothing. Not a single word came out. His ears turned pink again. And this time, I wasn't sure who that was worse for. Yeah. This was not getting fixed anytime soon. Chapter 3. I hate that it looks good on him. I noticed it again, which was already a problem. But the real problem? I didn't look away this time. His ears were red. Not slightly pink. Not maybe I'm imagining it. No, red. Clear. Undeniable. And somehow, it looked good on him. I blinked. No, absolutely not. Reject that thought immediately. Are you done staring? Rowan asked. I snapped out of it. I wasn't staring. You were. I wasn't. You stopped mid-sentence. I was thinking. You were looking at my ears. I was not. I stopped. Because I was. This was humiliating. Why are they red? I demanded, pointing like this was an interrogation. They're not. They are. They're not. They, Rowan. They're literally glowing. They are not glowing. They look like a warning sign. Then stop looking. I would if they'd stop changing color. He exhaled slowly, like I was the problem here. Which fine. Maybe I was. But that wasn't the point. You're the one making it worse, he said. How am I making your ears red? You keep bringing attention to it. They were red before I said anything. You noticed. Because they're red. You're repeating yourself. So are you. A pause. Then, his lips twitched. Again. I narrowed my eyes. You're doing this on purpose. Doing what? This. All of this. The calm voice, the stupid comments, I gestured vaguely. The ear situation. My ears are not a situation. They are to me. That sounds like a personal issue. I hate you. You've said that before. I mean it more now. I doubt that. I turned away sharply. Because this was getting ridiculous. I came here to fix a rumor. Not to analyze his ears like it was a personality trait. Leo. I froze. I hated when he said my name. It always sounded like he meant something by it. What? I said, not turning back. You're distracted. I'm not. You are. I'm thinking. You're staring again. I am not. I turned. Big mistake. Because he was closer now. Not close enough to touch. But close enough to... No. Stop. See, he said quietly. See what? You keep looking. I'm not looking, I said. immediately looking at his ears again. They were still red. Worse, brighter. This was a nightmare. Why are they red? I asked again because apparently I had lost all ability to function normally. He didn't answer immediately, just watched me, like he was waiting for something. Does it bother you? He asked. Yes. Why? Because it's weird. How is it weird? It just is. That's not an explanation. I don't need an explanation. You asked a question. Don't turn this around on me. A pause. Then, he stepped closer. Just a little. But enough. Enough that I could feel the shift in the air. Enough that my brain went, nope. Maybe, he said, voice lower now. It's your fault. My fault. I scoffed. How is your body reacting my fault? You're the one who keeps starting things. I start fights, not whatever this is. And yet, he said, tilting his head slightly, this only happens when you're around. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. Nothing. That doesn't mean anything, I said finally. Doesn't it? No. You seem very focused on it. I'm not focused. You've mentioned it 5 times. I'm making an observation. You're fixated. I am not fixated on your ears. Silence. Then, very softly, you're staring again. I immediately looked away. This was getting out of control. Stop doing that, I muttered. Doing what? Standing so close. I'm not that close. You are to me. That sounds like another personal issue. I have a lot of issues right now and you are all of them. That's a bold claim. It's an accurate one. He let out a quiet breath, almost like a laugh. Not loud, not obvious, just enough to make it worse. You're easy to read, he said. I am not. You are. I'm literally not. You react to everything. I react to you. Exactly. I froze, because that didn't sound as good as I wanted it to. I react because you're annoying, I corrected quickly. Of course. I do not care about you. Clearly. I don't. You've said that. Because it's true. If you say it enough times, maybe it will be. I stared at him, hard, because that sounded like an insult. And also, not entirely wrong, which was worse. You're impossible, I said. And yet, he replied calmly, you keep coming back. I come back to fight. Sure. That's literally it. Then fight. I blinked. What? You wanted to prove something, didn't you? He said. That you don't like me. I do want to prove that. Then prove it. I stepped closer. Finally, matching his distance, matching his energy. Fine, I said. I don't like you. His gaze didn't move. Say something new. I think you're arrogant. Already established. I think you're annoying. You've said that too. I think. I stopped. Because I ran out. He noticed. Of course he noticed. That's all? He asked quietly. No. Then continue. Nothing. Again. Nothing. This was a problem. A serious problem. Because I had plenty of reasons to hate him. So why couldn't I say them now? You're insufferable, I finished weakly. He watched me for a second longer. Then, his ears turned red again. I exhaled sharply. I hate that. That my ears are red? Yes. Why? Because... I stopped. Because I almost said it. Because it looks good. No, absolutely not. That thought gets buried. Immediately. Forever. Because it's distracting, I corrected quickly. From what? From the fact that I'm supposed to hate you. A pause. Then, something shifted. Not big. Not obvious. But there. Supposed to? He repeated. I froze. Crap. I mean, I do hate you. Of course. I do. I believe you. You don't sound like you believe me. That's because you don't sound convincing. Stop saying that. He almost smiled again. Almost. Then try harder, he said. I stared at him. Frustrated. Annoyed. Very aware of the way his ears were still red. And even more aware of the fact that, for some reason, I didn't look away. Yeah. This was definitely getting worse. Chapter 4. This is not the same fight. Something was wrong with me. That was the only explanation. Because this wasn't how it used to feel. Before, fighting Rowan was simple. Clean. He'd say something arrogant, I'd get annoyed, I'd snap back, we'd argue, I'd walk away frustrated. End of story. No lingering thoughts. No weird silence afterward. No, now it felt like I was arguing with a problem I couldn't solve. And the worst part, the problem was me. Are you going to say something? Rowan asked, leaning against the desk like he had all the time in the world. Or just stand there thinking aggressively? I don't think aggressively. You do. I don't. You've been staring at the same spot for 30 seconds. I'm planning my next move. In a conversation? Yes. That's concerning. I exhaled sharply. This is what I meant. Before, I would have snapped instantly. Now I had to think. Which was annoying. And suspicious. And deeply, deeply inconvenient. You're different, I said suddenly. He raised an eyebrow. That sounds like an accusation. It is. How? You weren't like this before. Like what? I gestured vaguely. This. Calm. Annoying. Observing everything like you're collecting data. I've always done that. No, before you were just insufferable. And now you're worse. That's impressive. It's not a compliment. I didn't think it was. A pause. I frowned slightly. Why does this feel different? He didn't answer immediately, just watched me again, like he was waiting for me to figure it out myself. I hated that. Different how? He asked. I hesitated, because I didn't have a clean answer. Just the feeling. It used to be simple, I said slowly. I'd fight you, get annoyed, leave. Done. And now I don't leave properly. He tilted his head slightly. That's vague. I know it's vague. Try harder. Stop saying that. Then explain it better. I ran a hand through my hair, frustrated. Okay. Before I was angry at you, I said. Now I'm not. That sounds like progress. It's not. Why not? Because I'm still angry. At me. I paused. No. That slipped out too easily. He noticed. Of course he noticed. Then who? He asked quietly. I looked away. Myself. Silence. Not awkward. Not tense. Just still. That's new, he said. I know. Why? I let out a short, humorless laugh. If I knew that, we wouldn't be having this conversation. He pushed off the desk, standing straight now. Closer. Again. Always closer. I thought you hated me, he said. I did. Past tense. I don't know. That's unclear. I know. This was frustrating. Not the normal kind. Not the he said something stupid kind. This was complicated. Messy. Unfair. I still pick fights with you, I said like that proved something. You do. So that means I still hate you. Not necessarily. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. Yes, it. Leo. I stopped. Again. That name thing needed to stop. Immediately. You're not fighting me the same way, he said. I frowned. What do you mean? You hesitate. I do not. You do. I'm literally arguing with you right now. You paused 3 times. That's because you're being annoying. That's not new. I opened my mouth. Closed it. Okay, that was fair. You're thinking too much, he continued. I'm not. You didn't think before. Wow, that's rude. It's accurate. I had plenty of thoughts. You had reactions. That's the same thing. It's not. I groaned, dragging a hand down my face. This is what I mean, I muttered. Before I'd just fight you. Now it feels like what? I hesitated. Because this was gonna sound stupid. And I hated sounding stupid. Like a cat fighting its owner, I said finally. Silence. Then, his eyebrow lifted. That's your comparison? Yes. You're the cat. I am not the cat. You just said. You know what I mean. I don't. It's like I gestured, frustrated. The cat is angry, right? It scratches. It hisses. It acts like it hates the owner. And it doesn't actually hate the owner. There it was. Out loud. Great. Fantastic. I wanted to disappear. And you're the cat, he said. I said I'm not the. You're angry. Yes. You're still fighting. Yes. But you don't actually hate me. I didn't say that. You implied it. I did not. You did. I turned away, because this conversation was getting too close to something I didn't want to look at. I hate that, I muttered. What? That you're making sense. I usually do. I know. That sounds like another problem. It is. A pause. Then, why are you angry at yourself? He asked. I didn't answer immediately, because that was the worst question so far. Because it was easier before, I said quietly. How? I knew what I felt. And now, I don't. Silence again, but different this time. Heavier. I don't like this, I added. I don't like not knowing. You don't like losing control. That too. He stepped closer. Of course he did. At this point, I expected it. Didn't mean I liked it. Then stop trying to force it, he said. I'm not forcing anything. You are. I'm not. You keep trying to prove something. I am trying to prove something. What? That I don't like you. The words hit harder than I expected, because they didn't sound as convincing as before. He watched me for a second. Then, quietly, and if you can't? I froze. I can, I said quickly. Then why haven't you? I haven't had the chance. You've had multiple chances. Then I need another one. A pause. Then, that almost smile again. All right, he said. I narrowed my eyes. All right, what? Another chance. Suspicion. Immediate. What's the condition? He stepped closer. Close enough that the air shifted again. Close enough that my brain started acting stupid again. Next time you pick a fight, he said. Softly. Don't hold back. I never hold back. You do now. I don't. You hesitate. I don't hesitate. Then prove it. I stared at him, frustrated, annoyed, very aware of everything that had changed. Fine, I said. But even as I said it, I already knew this wasn't going to be a normal fight anymore. And that was the real problem. Chapter 5, that was not part of the fight. He was doing it again. Too close. Always too close. Like distance was a concept that simply didn't apply to Rowan Vale anymore. Stay away from me, I snapped, stepping back before my brain could short-circuit again. He didn't move. Of course he didn't. Instead, he leaned in further. Why? He asked quietly. Because. I gestured between us, frustrated. This, whatever this is. Stop it. What is this? Don't act like you don't know. I want to hear you say it. I'm not saying anything. Then I'll keep guessing. I clenched my jaw. You're crossing a line. Which line? You know which. Do I? Yes. Explain it. God, he was insufferable. Worse than usual. More controlled. More aware. Like he knew exactly what he was doing and was enjoying every second of it. Just stay away, I repeated. Make me. That did it. I grabbed his collar again, shoving him back a step. This is me making you. His eyes flickered. Not surprised. Not angry. Something else. There it is, he murmured. There what is? That reaction. I always react like this. No, he said softly. You don't. I frowned. What's that supposed to mean? It means, he said, gaze steady. You're not fighting me anymore. I am literally holding your collar. You're not fighting, he repeated. You're. He stopped, like he chose not to finish that sentence. I'm what? I demanded. He didn't answer, just looked at me, at my hand gripping his shirt, at how close we were again. You're distracted, he said instead. I am not distracted. You are. I'm telling you to stay away. And you're still here. I froze. Because that was true. I'm here to push you away, I shot back. Then do it. I am doing it. Not very effectively. I pushed him harder. He didn't resist. Didn't step back much either. Just enough to make it feel like I hadn't lost completely. Stop talking like that, I said. Like what? Like you know something I don't. Maybe I do. You don't. You're not very convincing. Stop saying that. Silence snapped between us. Sharp, tight, too close. Stay away from me, I said again, quieter this time. Not a demand. More like a warning. He tilted his head slightly, studying me, too carefully. How can I, babe? He said. Everything stopped. What? I said. I heard what you said. My brain refused to process it properly. Did he just... No, no, absolutely not. Don't call me that, I snapped. Why? Because it's weird. Is it? Yes. You seemed fine a second ago. I was not fine. You didn't complain. I'm complaining now. He stepped closer again. Of course he did. Like he was testing how far he could push before I broke. You're overreacting, he said softly. I am not. Relax. Don't tell me to relax. I shoved him. Harder this time. More instinct than thought. Back off. He didn't look offended. Didn't look angry. If anything, he looked more focused. And then, before I could move, before I could think, before I could do anything at all, he kissed me. Not an accident. Not a mistake. Not a brush or a slip. A real kiss. Everything went still. My brain stopped. My thoughts disappeared. For a second, I didn't even react. And then, I shoved him. Hard. What the hell is wrong with you? I snapped, stepping back like I needed distance just to breathe. That was my first kiss. And he just... Rowan didn't apologize. Didn't look guilty. Didn't even look surprised. He just grinned. That's impressive, he said. I stared at him, completely thrown off. What is? You, he replied casually. You didn't freeze as long as I expected. My brain short-circuited again. Expected, I repeated. You expected. You recovered fast. You kissed me. I did. Why? A pause. Then, he shrugged. I was curious. I blinked. Once. Twice. Curious. Yes. That's your reason? It's a good one. No, it's not. I dragged a hand through my hair. Pacing once like that would somehow fix reality. You don't just kiss people because you're curious. I snapped. I do. That's not normal. Define normal. I am not doing this with you right now. I stopped, because he was still watching me. Calm. Steady. Too calm. You said you're straight. I said. I did. And you kissed me. Yes. That doesn't make sense. Why not? Because it just doesn't. He stepped closer again. Slow this time. Deliberate. It made sense in the moment, he said. My heart did something very unhelpful. Well, it didn't make sense to me. I shot back. You seemed responsive. I was in shock. Still counts. It does not count. He almost smiled again. You're overthinking it, he said. I am not overthinking. You literally kissed me. And I stopped. Because, what was the end? And don't do it again, I finished instead. Silence. Then, all right, he said. I blinked. All right? I won't. That was too easy. Suspiciously easy. That's it, I asked. That's it. No argument? No. No teasing. Not right now. I narrowed my eyes. This feels like a trap. It might be. At least you're consistent. A pause. Then, you didn't hate it, he added casually. I froze. I did, I said immediately. Convincing. Stop saying that. He finally stepped back. Just enough. Giving me space again. But somehow, that didn't fix anything. Because now there was something else. Something worse. I could still feel it. That moment. That stupid, confusing, completely unnecessary moment. And the worst part? I didn't know if I was more angry at him or at myself. Yeah. This was definitely a problem now. Don't miss next part.